In 1990, Brian May wrote a song and brought it to Freddie Mercury. He has said in interviews since that he was not certain Freddie could sing it, not because the song was beyond Freddie Mercury's voice at its best, that voice had no ceiling, but because of where Freddie Mercury was in 1990, because of what was happening to his body, because of the specific distance between what the song required and what Brian May feared Freddie might have left. He brought it anyway. He played it. And Freddie Mercury listened to the song that Brian May had written about him, about the show, about the going on, about the specific act of continuing when continuing is the only thing available. And he said, "I'll have a go, darling." He poured a vodka, he drank it, he walked to the microphone, and he sang "The Show Must Go On" in one take. One. And Brian May stood in the control room and listened and has said in the years since that what he witnessed that afternoon was one of the most extraordinary things he has ever seen. A person who should not have been able to do what he was doing it completely in a single take, with a voice that the illness had not been able to take. The show must go on. He proved it that afternoon. Once. Completely. Forever. The Show Must Go On is not a simple song about perseverance. It is more specific than that and more difficult than that. It is a song about the specific experience of continuing when you know the continuation is finite. When the show you are insisting must go on is a show whose end you can see from where you are standing. The lyric is not inspirational in the conventional sense of that word. It is honest in a way that inspires because of its honesty rather than despite it. Empty spaces. What are we living for? The song begins with the admission of emptiness, not with a declaration of purpose. It describes a voice that has cracked under pressure, dreams that have been broken, the specific erosion of certainty that serious illness produces. And then from inside all of that, it insists, the show must go on. Not because everything is fine, not because the difficulty is manageable, but because the show must go on. And this is what we do. And the continuing is the only form of not giving up that is available. Brian May wrote these words for Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury sang them. And the singing was the proof of the words. By 1990, Freddie Mercury had known his diagnosis for 3 years, since the formal disclosure to the other 3 members of Queen in October 1987. Since then, Queen had made the miracle and begun Innuendo, both recorded in the specific conditions that Peter Freestone and others have described. Freddie arriving at the studio when he could, recording in shorter sessions, the team working around his good days and his bad days. By 1990, he was moving with difficulty. He was losing weight in visible ways. He was managing a public face that showed as little as possible, and he was still recording. Because the alternative to making music was not making music. And not making music was not something Freddie Mercury was able to do. Brian May wrote the song and brought it to a man who was dying and who he was not sure could sing it. Freddie Mercury said, "I'll have a go, darling," poured the vodka, walked to the microphone, sang it once, one take, completely. And Brian May stood in the control room and watched and has described what he saw as one of the most extraordinary things he has ever witnessed in his life. Think about what it takes to witness something extraordinary after 40 years of extraordinary things. After Live Aid, after Wembley, after every stage and every concert and every recording that Queen had made. And still, this was the most extraordinary thing he had seen. One take, in 1990, a dying man singing. The specific quality of Brian May's doubt before the show must go on recording is worth examining because it illuminates what the recording then demonstrated. He has said he was wondering whether Freddie could even get through it, not whether Freddie could sing it well, but whether he could physically sustain the vocal through the full length of the song without the illness overtaking the performance. This is a different kind of doubt from the ordinary doubt a songwriter might have about a new piece of material. It is the doubt of someone who loves the person for whom the song has been written and who has been watching what the illness is doing to that person's body and who is genuinely uncertain whether the body still has what the voice needs. The doubt is an act of love, in its way the specific concern of someone who has been watching carefully enough to know that what he is about to ask might be too much. And the answer, one take, complete, extraordinary, was Freddie Mercury's specific response to every doubt that had ever been held about what he could do. He had been answering that kind of doubt for 20 years. He answered it one more time in 1990. The vodka is a detail that has appeared in multiple accounts of the recording session, and that carries a specific weight beyond its surface meaning. It is not simply anecdote, not simply the rock star with the drink before the performance. It is the specific detail of a person doing what is necessary to get themselves to the microphone and through the take. The vodka is the specific preparation of someone for whom the ordinary act of recording has become, by 1990, an act that requires something beyond the ordinary act of deciding to do it. It requires the management of a body that is failing. The vodka is the management. It is also, in its way, the specific defiance, the doing of the thing the way you have always done it, or the closest approximation of the way you have always done it in the conditions available. Freddie Mercury had drunk before recordings before. He had drunk before performances before. He continued to do what he had always done. The continuation of the specific personal ritual is the specific form of not changing that the dying person manages in the face of everything that is changing. He poured the vodka. He drank it. He walked to the microphone. The show must go on, one take. The significance of the single take is the significance of completeness, a performance that did not require correction or repair. One take means what came out the first time was the right thing, in the right form, with nothing missing. For Freddie Mercury in 1990, one take also means the conservation of what was available. If you are not certain how many takes a voice has left, you give everything to the first one, and it was complete. Brian May has said it was absolutely amazing, said it in the tone of someone who expected something and received something that exceeded the expectation. Not in the direction of worse, but in the direction of better. Better than he thought possible. One take in 1990. With everything that was happening to Freddie Mercury's body, one take. After 3 years of knowing, after everything the illness had been doing, after all the shortened sessions and the good days worked around and the bad days waited out. One take. Better than Brian May thought possible. Better than anyone watching from the control room had reason to expect. The voice that the illness had been working on for 3 years and had not been able to take. One take. Completely. That is what it means when Brian May says it was one of the most extraordinary things he has ever witnessed. He had been there. He had seen what 1990 was doing, and then he heard one take, and the take was complete. The Show Must Go On is one of the very few Queen songs in which the biographical specificity of what Freddie Mercury was singing is completely transparent. The song describes exactly what he was living. Empty spaces, the specific quality of a life from which things are being progressively removed. What are we living for? The question that a person asks when the things they have been living for are becoming less accessible. A voice that has cracked under pressure, the literal reality of what was happening to his physical instrument. The show must go on the statement that he was making every day by going to the studio when he could, by recording when the good days permitted, by continuing to make music in the conditions available rather than waiting for the conditions he would have preferred. He was singing his own life, and the singing was the continuation it was insisting upon. The circularity of this, the song about going on, being the act of going on, is not incidental. It is the specific quality of the recording that makes it different from every other performance of the same words. He was not performing a sentiment about perseverance. He was persevering in the specific form of the performance. The Show Must Go On appears on Innuendo, the album Queen released in February 1991, 9 months before Freddie Mercury died. Innuendo was made in the conditions of a recording process conducted around a person's illness. Freddie arriving at the studio on the days he could, the music assembled from the sessions his health permitted. The album contains the specific emotional range of those conditions, the defiance of the title track, the elegiac quality of the later songs. The Show Must Go On is the last track, the last thing you hear before the record ends. And it ends with the voice, the one-take voice, sustaining the final note with a completeness that the illness had not touched. The last track, the last note, sustained, complete. The Freddie Mercury tribute concert on the 20th of April, 1992 at Wembley Stadium, the concert that brought together an extraordinary range of artists to perform Queen's music in Freddie Mercury's memory, included a performance of The Show Must Go On by Elton John and Axl Rose. The specific quality of hearing The Show Must Go On at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, hearing the song performed after the person who had written it for himself had died, was the specific quality of the song, becoming what Brian May had written it to be. A statement that exists beyond the person who first made it, that is true even after the person is gone. The show was going on. Freddie Mercury was gone. The show was going on anyway. The song had predicted this. The song had been the instruction to do exactly this. And Wembley Stadium, full of people who had loved Freddie Mercury, was doing it. Because the show must go on. Because he had told them it must. Because he had proved it in one take in 1990 in a recording studio with a vodka and a microphone and a voice that the illness had not been able to take. He proved it in one take in 1990. The show must go on. And then Wembley Stadium in 1992 was the show going on. And every Queen plus Adam Lambert concert since has been the show going on. And every time the recording of The Show Must Go On plays a specific recording, the one take, Freddie Mercury's voice sustaining the final note, the show is going on. He proved it once. The proof has not expired. It will not expire. The show must go on. He proved it. In one take. Completely. Forever. Brian May plays The Show Must Go On at Queen plus Adam Lambert concerts. He plays it knowing what the recording contains, the one take, the vodka, the 1990 body, the doubt before Freddie walked to the microphone. The audiences received the song as one of the most powerful statements in rock music about the act of continuing. Brian May plays it knowing all of this, completely, with everything the song requires. Because Freddie Mercury proved that everything is available even when everything seems impossible. That is what the one take said. That is what Brian May carries when he plays it. The Show Must Go On has become, in the 35 years since its recording, one of the most heard pieces of music in the specific context of human difficulty played at memorial services. At the moments when people need to be told that going on is possible and necessary, at the specific human occasions that require a voice large enough to say the thing that needs to be said. It is heard in this context because the person who sang it meant it in the most complete possible way, because the specific authority of the recording comes from its biographical truth, from the fact that the man singing about the show going on was the show, and the show was going on, and the one take was the proof. When it plays at a memorial service, or at the moment when a person needs to hear that continuing is what must happen, it carries the weight of what produced it. One take, in 1990, a dying man proving it. The authority of the recording is the authority of the proof, and the proof is complete. When you hear The Show Must Go On now, when you hear that voice, that one-take voice, sustaining the final note, you are hearing the proof. Not a performance of defiance. The actual defiance, recorded once, complete, in 1990. Brian May was in the control room. He did not think Freddie could get through it. And Freddie got through it in one take. And Brian May has been carrying what he witnessed in that control room for 35 years. This is what he witnessed. This is the proof. This is what one take means when the person recording it is a dying man who has not yet agreed to stop. In 1990, Brian May brought a song to Freddie Mercury and was not certain Freddie could sing it. Freddie Mercury poured a vodka and walked to the microphone and sang The Show Must Go On in one take. Brian May stood in the control room and witnessed one of the most extraordinary things he has ever seen. The song went on to the Innuendo album, the last track, the last note sustained, complete. 9 months later, Freddie Mercury died. 2 years after that, Wembley Stadium proved the song right. And every concert since has proved the song right. And every time the recording plays, the one take, the 1990 voice, the final note held the song proves itself right again. The show must go on. He proved it. Once, in one take, with a vodka and a microphone and a body that was failing and a voice that was not. He proved it completely. And the proof is still running.